look at the Countess, I mustered as much dignity as possible, following what was a decidedly inelegant recovery, and headed for the tea table. Every inch of the mahogany surface was covered by dainty china platters heaped up with sandwiches, biscuits, and cakes. Although I did not doubt for an instant that it was all delectable, none of it appealed to a stomach seared by embarrassment. I poured myself a cup of tea, my unsteady hands sloshing the golden liquid onto the saucer, and took a seat on the other side of the parlour. "Stunning woman, the Countess, wouldn't you say, Lady Ashton?" Lord Fortescue dropped onto the chair across from me, its delicate frame bowing under his weight. "Great friend of Hargreaves's. They've known each other for years, inseparable when he's on the continent." I'd had the misfortune in the past year of drawing the attention and ire of Lord Fortescue, confidant of Queen Victoria, and broadly considered to be the most powerful man in the empire. I despised him as much as he despised me, and wondered how I would survive for days on end, trapped at Beaumont Towers, his extravagant estate in Yorkshire. Ignoring his question, I looked across the drawing-room at a gentleman sprawled on a moss-green velvet settee. "Is Sir Thomas asleep? That can't bode well for this party." "So unfortunate that you had to postpone your wedding," Fortescue drawled. "But we needed Hargreaves in Russia. Couldn't be avoided." Colin and I had planned to be married as soon as possible after I'd accepted his proposal, but he was called away just 2 days before the wedding, no doubt by Lord Fortescue, to assist with a delicate situation in St. Petersburg. This had caused a considerable amount of gossip, as we'd bowed to family pressure to invite several hundred guests. "Mrs. Brandon tells me that Sir Thomas has a terrible habit of dozing in Parliament. I marvel that his constituents continue to re-elect him." I turned my head to stare out the window across the moors. "I wouldn't expect Hargreaves to be in a hurry to marry you now that he's renewing his acquaintance with the Countess." He tapped on the side of his empty glass, which a footman immediately refilled with scotch. As soon as the servant had stepped away, my adversary resumed his offensive. "I've no interest in protecting your feelings, Lady Ashton. You will never make an appropriate wife for him, and I shall do everything in my power to make sure that he never marries you." "I wonder if I could fall asleep in Parliament," I said, refusing to engage him. "I shouldn't think the benches are that comfortable, though it's not difficult to believe many of the speeches are tedious enough to induce even the most hearty soul to slumber. But I'd wager the House of Commons is more lively than the House of Lords." Across the room, the Countess had pulled her chair closer to Colin's, her hand draped elegantly over his armrest. "You will not avoid conversation on this topic," Lord Fortescue said, his voice sharp, his already ruddy complexion taking on an even brighter hue. "You're quite mistaken." At last I allowed my eyes to meet his. "Let me assure you that I have every intention of avoiding it entirely. My private life is exactly that, private." I was resolved to let this man see me as nothing but unflappable. "It's rather cold in here, isn't it? It can be so difficult to heat large houses." "The sooner you learn your place, the better," he said. "Lord Fortescue, there is little less appealing to me than having to pass even an hour in close quarters with you. But we're both here, and rather than spending the duration of this party bickering, I shall do all I can to be pleasant." I gave him my most charming smile. "Let's begin again. I was surprised to receive your invitation. It was good of you to acquiesce to Mr. Brandon's request." Robert Brandon, who was married to one of my dearest friends, Ivy, had recently entered politics. His quick mind and steady character appeared.